ladies, gentlemen, and kitties. Today, thanks to Arrowhead Harley-Davidson in Peoria, Arizona, today I'll be riding one of the most talked about Harleys that came out last year, the Harley 750 Street Rod. This is one of the entry-level Harleys you can buy in the market right now. And I gotta say, it doesn't have that bulk or the awkwardness of the Sportster. I like the feel of this. Ergonomics Check, 6'3", 200 to 220 pounds, 32-inch inseam. The pegs kind of touches on my calf area. You just have to adjust your legs as you go on. And the way the bike's idles, it's not as jarring as the Sportster or some bigger Harleys that you're used to. Very nice. Okay, this is different. It has an upright riding position compared to other Harleys. This bike is a response to the retro heritage whatever bikes that you call the R9T, the XSR 650, the Bonneville, the Indian Scout Bobber, those type of bikes. It has a very analog throttle here, no jib jabbers, no rev count, no tachometer, and also no gear shift indicator. So you basically pretty much guess what gears are you in right now. Honestly, first impressions, I feel kind of cramped. I can tell that Harley isn't that much used to designing bikes like this. Upright riding position, not the laid back riding position as your typical normal Harley bikes. So far so good. The throttle response is instantaneous, and you can still feel that this bike already doesn't like to rev anymore. But I'm pretty surprised that this bike has a good low center of gravity. It's flickable. It's surprisingly flickable. On my upper torso area, this bike is comfortable, but on my bottom half of my body, it feels really cramped. As if it's like riding an upright sport bike. It's like you're sitting on a toilet at some point. Not in a toilet or in a short stool. Heel toe's easy, but you better be careful because the gears are kind of short, and I think the revs are kind of short too. And you have to control your throttle hand very carefully because it has a herky-jerky delivery. Yep, typical Harley, doesn't like to rev. I'm riding this work boots right now, and I don't have that much foot room. The engine is very Harley-Davidson. It has that V-twin charm still, unlike some other bikes in its class. As you can see, the pegs, the brake, the clutch, they're so close to you. It's like sitting on a stool. And then as you can see, this tank is huge. See, you have to clean it all the time. See? You can pet it while you're while you're waiting at the line. You can just, ooh, very nice bike. So far so good. The handlebars are in the right position and angle. This is the lightest Harley-Davidson I've ridden by feel so far. The front disc brakes is a little bit on the mushy side. So it has a very jerky throttle. Somehow this engine is not very enthusiastic. Doesn't like to be rev. It pretends to be a cruiser on which it doesn't look like a traditional cruiser. Handlebar vibes is very minimal on street speeds. There's heat emanating on my thighs right now. As you can see, my thighs are like next to the fuel tank. I don't know, you can put some additional paddings on the tank somewhat. And then the side mirrors has a good visibility. I can see really clearly. It's not like the Scott Bobber turns side mirrors. I'm not used to that type of style, but this one, it kind of works on me. The rear brakes doesn't have much play to modulate, and it's highly sensitive. So you just have to flick it to modulate it. The front brakes has a lot of play, like a typical cruiser. Vibes are emanating also on the tank area. So if I lead my legs like this towards the fuel tank, I will feel some vibes, some vibrations. But on my buttocks, I don't feel anything. The cushioning on the seat is pretty well padded, which is pretty good. The sound, I think without the earplugs, the sound might sound very nice, but I'm on my earplugs right now, so you know, noise things and everything. Yeah, the brakes have a lot of play. See, just before it engages. So just a note on that one. And then I think, like most Harleys, this one is hard to engage it on neutral. You gotta engage it on neutral while you're rolling to a stop before you hit a complete stop. What else? Yeah, it's surprisingly light and nimble. It's not like as you can see right here, they're like behemoths compared to this thing. But yeah, so far the biggest omission that I see here is the legroom. Being 6'3", I basically just crouching like in a third row seat in an SUV. With earplugs on, I can't hear the engine that much, but I bet it sounds very nice in a typical Harley fashion. It's a heritage cruiser, no more no less. Some people like this type of bike. Since this bike Street Rod was just released last year. Oh, I can't do it neutral. There you go. Yeah, you just have to learn how to put this bike on neutral while rolling into a stop. And of course, typical Harley, you have to manhandle everything in this bike. The gears are short. Yeah, the gearing is a little bit on the short side. Plus, with the combination of a very low RPM range, you gotta shift right away. See, it's very nimble. Very, very nimble. For a Harley, it's like an FZ07. FZ07 or FZ09. Come on, put a neutral. It can be a little distracting doing that. See, I can't even engage neutral now. I think with practice you can get used to it, but I haven't ridden Harleys for quite some time now. The last Harley that I've ridden was the 2014 Fat Boy. Yeah, the 2014 Fat Boy was the last Harley I've ridden, and that was like, no. I went to a different demo day, and I ridden the V-Rod, and I fell in love with that bike. Too bad they phased it out. I would think that's a very underutilized bike too. It's a very beautiful bike. Oh yeah, the last bike I ridden was the 2016 Fat Bob. There you go. But unfortunately, I don't have a video for that because that was before my GoPro days. Actually, once you get used to the very sensitive rear brakes, it's easy to modulate once you get used to it, of course. Okay, we're gonna enter the freeway. Lean angle is pretty significant. Very good. It sounds nice when you put the taps on it. Highway cruising, typical normal naked bike feel. Wind buffeting, just like a naked bike. But you don't have to lay back like that guy over there in this electric glide. But this bike doesn't like to rev. You just have to sense, like an old school bike. You just have to sense how many revs does it go, when to shift, when to downshift. Freeway cruising is very nice. I like it. It's a relaxing bike besides being cramped and all. Yeah, it feels like you're sitting on a third row SUV with your knees up to your chest. That's how I feel right now. But other than that, it's a very comfortable bike. It's a very good commuter bike. If you're a fan of Harleys, and if you want a small bike that you can lug around town without riding that massive thing over there, because every day riding that thing over there, the electric glide, can be very, very taxing. This bike alleviates all that. So if you don't want to leave the Harley brand, this is your bike. This is your commuter bike. I like the riding, but despite the crampedness inside, sitting on this bike, I'd rather ride this than the Sportster series, because the Sportster is a very, very awkward bike to ride, in my opinion. Wow, that guy in an electric glide wants to jump. If you see the appearance of this bike, it doesn't look like a Harley. It looks like a XSR 900 because it has some plastic bits on some areas to point out. We're almost here, back to the dealership. I'd like to thank Arrowhead Harley-Davidson in Peoria and Harley-Davidson of North America to provide this marvelous event. Low speed stability is very good. Clutch engagement is on the later side of the handle. You keep modulating and all of a sudden it bites. So just be careful on that. We're back to the dealership. Yeah, the clutch is in a little bit of a tricky spot. I'll just park where I got this back from. Alright, I can't put it to neutral. Whatever. I give up. Off. Well, I can't put it to neutral, so typical Harley. Off. Kickstand, easy to locate. Tricky to find though. And there you go. The Street Rod 750. It has that Harley charm. The head. Of course, the V-twin. And then the high output 750, and this part looks very Japanese, and of course traditional belt drive. Give it a thumbs up on it. See you later.